I'm actually really nervous, which is odd because I've done 1,000 of these. And it was weird. I'm on a 9-city speaking tour. And I came into the hotel last night and there were so many people wandering around, so many people in university. And I have to admit, and maybe this is sort of an indication of how old I am, my initial thought was, oh my God, the hotel is going to be so loud tonight. And one of you came to my door last night. It was the wrong room, and you were so nice about it. I just opened the door, and he's like, oh my God, wrong room, and just kept rolling. But what happened was I looked to the right, and there was Jack.org. And you guys are all here, all of you are here to talk about building communities and building. And what happened was I saw it, and because Jess had said something to me about it last year, and I remember at the time thinking, I would love to be a part of that community. As soon as I saw the sign, I said, I want to send a tweet and do it. And so, yeah, I'm so grateful to have the opportunity because this wasn't planned, and to let somebody come and talk to you for 10 minutes at the end without it being planned is a huge honor, because I am so in love with the work that you're doing. I didn't just hear what you talk about, I went and looked it up and was blown away because it means so much to me. And when I saw the sign, immediately I thought, if I get the chance, I want to tell you the story of 3 extraordinary women and thank you for the work that you're doing. The first one I met when I was teaching leadership at the University of Toronto about 10 years ago. And when she arrived, I also coached women's flag football. And when she arrived as a first-year student, she was a beam of light. She was a dream to coach. She showed up every day. She brought absolutely everything, although she may not have been the most talented person in the world. She may have been terrible. But she took so much joy in making the people around her better. She was a dream teammate. And then something happened between 3rd and 4th year. And when she showed up in 4th year, it's like she wasn't there anymore. If she came to practice, it's like something had collapsed in on itself. She was not there. She was just a body. And all of that light and energy seemed to have gone away. And she came to my office to talk about something in one of the courses that we were doing. And I couldn't help it. I just said, look, things seem different. Is there anything that you want to talk about? And after some pushback and forth, she said, a few months ago that my doctor diagnosed me with depression and said he wanted me to talk to somebody and he wanted me to try some medication. And I said, well, how is it working? And she said, oh, there's no way I'm doing that. And I asked her, why not? And she said, my parents would find out. Because I'm on their medical plan, they'd know. And I asked her, why is that a problem? And she goes, because it would be like the biggest insult to them ever. I said, how so? She goes, they've given me everything. They gave me money for school. They gave me a happy childhood. There was no fighting in my house. Every gift I ever wanted. I have an amazing life, and my parents gave it to me. And then to go and tell them that I'm sad, that I'm depressed, how big an insult would that be? Like, I'd be such a letdown. And look, I've worked so hard, I want a job, right? Why would anybody hire someone who they're worried they might break down partway through? And I just remember everything I heard in that. Being afraid of looking weak, being afraid of being an embarrassment to the people who love you, and being unemployable. In every single one of those, all I could think about is that's the exact same reason that I won't say anything. Because just a couple of years earlier, I had been diagnosed with bipolar. And the reason that I had been diagnosed with bipolar is because I had planned to take my life. And I went in and found out. It was almost like, how do you feel when you found out? I'm like, it was almost relief because now it has a name, right? And I accepted what they suggested, and my life changed dramatically, but I hadn't told anybody about it. And so sitting there across from her for the first time ever, I told a student, not a close friend, but a student, the entire story of what my life had been like and how it had gotten better since I acknowledged that and I deserved to get help. And at the end of it, she stopped and she just waited for a second, and then she said, I had no idea. And I said, I know, I don't advertise it. And she said, see, you're just like me. Why should I do something that you won't do? You're embarrassed too. And the thing was, she's totally right. This is the thing about working at a university. You were constantly surrounded by people half your age who were twice as smart as you are. And you talk about rebel, and you guys are all talking, sorry, I gotta say stop saying guys. You talk about rebels. And ultimately, to stand in front of somebody who gives you grades and tell them, like, right to their face, these are the moments where, like, being a rebel is born, right? It's not necessarily these giant movements. It's ultimately looking at power and going, you're lying. And I thought, you know what, you're right. So I made a deal. I said, if you try what your doctors are suggesting, I will stop being quiet about me. And she kept her end of the bargain. And so I tried to keep mine. And I said, I want to talk about this voyage because the difficulty was this. I made a career, and I still make a career, out of the credibility of my ideas. People pay me to stand on stages and talk about ideas, and I was afraid of the fact that if I said I am battling mental illness, we live in a world where people still equate mental illness with mental weakness, and I was terrified of what that would mean. And so I went and I talked to one of the senior people at the university, and I said, I'm going to start doing some presentations telling my personal story. And I got this. They said, Drew, we cannot have the leader of our leadership development program telling people that he has a mental illness. This is just the reality that we have to deal with. And I said, well, what if that's the reality that I want to change? What if that's the reality that I think we as an institution should be changing? And this is what I got. Drew, it's not our job to change reality. It's our job to equip students to thrive in the reality that exists out there. Bullshit. Okay? Because here's the thing, right? I've studied leadership my entire adult life, and I will tell you the very definition of leadership is identifying realities that have to change and then doing something yourself personally to change it. The very definition of leadership is saying this is the part of my reality that I deserve to be changed, and I'm going to believe that I have the right to go out and change it. And honestly, I did not do what they told me. That's my little tiny little piece of being a rebel. And you know what? They realized afterwards that I was right and that we were all right. So you're going to get pushback. You're going to have people say this isn't what's best for everyone. Maybe it's just what you think is best. But sometimes when you push, afterwards they come up and they say, yeah, you were right about that. Because here's the thing. We all went through an education system that often made many of us think the number one way you can look impressive is to make somebody say, oh my God, I didn't know that. The most powerful gift you can give to another human being, though, is not to make them say, oh my God, I didn't know that. The most powerful gift you can give to another human being is to make them say, oh my God, I thought I was the only one. I thought I was the only one who fought that, or I thought I was the only one who feared that, or I thought I was the only one who was hurt by that. That is a gift you can give people. And you want to talk how to build a collective? Let people know that you're out there. When you say you are not the only one, people instantly realize that they have a team and that they have a support system they didn't know. Don't go out there trying to look impressive. Don't go out there trying to make people say, oh, I didn't know that about mental illness. Our goal is always to make some other human being on the planet say, oh my God, I thought I was the only one. That's power. And it happens when you're not paying attention. The second woman I want to talk about, I met at a bar at 2 a.m. Right now they're like, why did we give this guy any time? In 1998, I was given the opportunity to try to raise money for a cause called Shinorama Students Fighting Cystic Fibrosis. I was trying to, thank you. I like this audience. I was trying to impress a girl, all right? Full stop. And ultimately what happened was we had the worst campaign in the country, my university. And so we said, you know what, we're probably not going to make a lot of money, but what we want to do as a team is we want to change the culture around this. We want people to not look at it as some little thing that happens, as fundamentally part of what this campus is about. We wanted to change the culture. We were really good at it. And we ended up going from $200 to $15,000, 5 times it had ever been raised before. Now we're 19 years old, and if you do something once, you're an expert at it. So we said we're going to make 20 grand the next year. And we sent our people out in a hurricane, and they still came back making $18,000. And even though we had set our goal at 20, 18,000 in a hurricane is amazing, so we celebrated it. And then the paper wrote, Shinorama comes up $2,000 short. And I let them convince us of that. Because we thought leaders set goals, and when they don't reach them, they don't lie to themselves. They say, we're going to do better next time. So I beat myself up, and our team beat ourselves up for coming short $2,000. 3 days after the article ran, at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm closing up the bar. I was a bartender. And this girl comes into the bar, walks up to me and says, hi, I'm a geek. And I don't know the conversational etiquette that's supposed to follow, hi, I'm a geek. So I went with the international symbol of I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. And she says, I have to go to med school. I'm on full scholarship. I have to go to med school. So I study every night. I never go out, but I love to dance. I freaking love to dance. And she goes, so what I do is the first week of every year, orientation week, I go out every single night and I dance until 2:30 in the morning and one of you throws me out. I'm like a dance camel. And she goes, so for the last 2 years, every night that I left this place at 2:30 in the morning, I would walk through the Student Union building, and you and your Shinorama team would be in a room at 2:30 in the morning, and you'd be painting signs, and you'd be building donation boxes. I watched you give 12 speeches in 3 nights to try to get people to go out and believe in this cause. I have never seen a group of people care more about anything in my life. And I wanted to let you know I noticed, and I'm not the only one. So, I feel better there are people like you in the world. And then she hands me an envelope and walks out of the bar. If you would like someone to cruise on a compliment for approximately 20 years, may I highly recommend I feel better there are people like you in the world. And so she walks out, and I have this envelope, and I figure it's a note, and I open it up, and in the envelope is a personal check from a 21-year-old student for $2,000. And I had never seen her before. And 2 things ran through my mind. Oh my God, somebody was watching. And then, oh my God, somebody was watching. Because here's the thing, sometimes in pursuit of the things that you think will make you look the best, we act in ways that we would be ashamed of. Never sacrifice that. But ultimately, what I realized and what I wanted to pass on to you here is that we often get so wrapped up in the plans that you create here and the goals that you set, whether it's money or recruitment or events, that we sometimes lose sight of what I think is a really essential fact. It is not the goals that you reach that will change culture and build a community. It is how you go about chasing those goals. There's going to be so many times along the way where you feel like you somehow failed or it's not working out. There will be someone in this room 2 years from now because of you. We know that people struggle silently, but they also celebrate and are inspired silently. It's not just the people who show up, it's the ones who see everything that you do. The ones who, for whatever reason, don't feel that they can do it yet. Those are the people who you're building into your community. That's how communities are built. That's going to happen. How you chase your goals is going to matter. And the last one I want to talk about, I met on a racetrack. I was driving a Formula 2000 doing some laps, and I got cut off. And I was so mad because there wasn't supposed to be any passing. And I was so mad, I drove into the pit and I jumped out of the car and watched them get out of their car. And I was like, I'm going to go and let you have it. And I got there and said, hey. And they turned around and took off their helmet and did this. And she looked at me and she said, oh, did I cut you off? And I looked at her and I said, can I buy you a drink or a house? She was a unicorn. And unicorns, here's the thing, we all have unicorns in our lives, and unicorns are those people in your life that are so rare and so powerful and so magical that you feel as if you are more just by being around them. That's what a unicorn is. And she was mine. Love is fascination, all right? It's not a sonnet and it's not a song, it's fascination. It's an unending, powerful fascination with another human being. And that's what Anastasia was. I loved her more than anything I've ever loved in my life. And she lost her battle with mental illness a year ago. And I'm nervous because I used to talk about mental illness in my story on stage all the time. I have not spoken a word about it since she died. Because what I've often wondered since that day is, do I have the right to? Because I talk about this all the time. I lived this and I missed that. The person I loved the most, I couldn't save them. And everyone in this room knows you can't think like that. But it's one say to say it and it's another to live it. And when I had the chance, I saw Jack.org, and I know what you dedicate yourself to. I thought about her, and I thought about the other women I know in my life who've been made better by the work that you do. And I thought about how 10 years ago a university said, we're not allowed to talk about this. And now there is a room full of people right here who is saying, we are going to, no matter what you say. And they've moved just as much as they have to, but they're always going to push back. Keep going. You're going to hear from your own mind saying, you don't have the right to talk about this. You're not strong enough. Who are you to do it? I just want to say, don't listen to that voice either. You're going to screw up. All I can remember is the favorite thing of Anastasia, we had this song that we lived for, and she said, death doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints. It takes and it takes and it takes. But we keep living anyway. We laugh and we cry and we break and we make our mistakes. And here's the thing. You will laugh and you will cry and you will break and you will make mistakes along the way, and your brain will tell you, stop it. Don't. Please don't. Because you inspire people like me to go back out and say it's time to start talking again. And thanks for giving me the opportunity to do it for the first time. Somewhere along the way, one more person, each one of you is going to cause one more person to say, I thought I was the only one. Each one of you is going to make one more person say, that's a community I want to be a part of. That's how communities are built. That's how cultures are changed. And that's how worlds get changed. Thank you for the work you do and for the chance to come and say that again. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thanks very, very much.